But before we begin, I think it's such a great night for the Green Bay Packers, having, two former players inducted in the Hall of Fame. So the late Bobby Dillon and then Charles Woodson. Obviously, those two guys were tremendous players and great for this organization, the city. And so I wanted to say congratulations to their families. And then what a great experience to have fans back in the stands, man. They brought a lot of juice, a lot of energy. I think our players, until you get them back in, I think that you don't truly appreciate how much more joy and just how much more fun the whole experience is to have that many people in less than ideal conditions to show up for practice. That was a pretty cool deal. So as far as the weather, was getting a lot of bad information, obviously. We had to adjust the schedule quite a bit in terms of didn't get everything in that we had scheduled. We had a red zone period that didn't take place. We wanted to get a 2-minute drive with the second and third group, but we did get to the tackling portion, which we promised everybody, and that was good to see some of those young guys go out there and compete. And more than anything else, we came away, I think, injury-free, which is always important, especially when you're playing on a slick surface and you're letting those guys go, full go. So I thought it was overall a productive and good night.
There's something to be said for practicing in the rain, wet balls. You're not gonna have sunny days every Sunday this year.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You can't obviously you can't replicate that weather. So that was good for those guys to experience. I think there was a little bit of sloppiness you saw with some of the quarterback center exchanges that we definitely need to clean up. I mean, we're a week away from our first preseason game, so that'll definitely be a point of emphasis throughout the course of the week.
You talk about the bad information. What was today like for you? It just kind of like a yo-yo back and forth, or what was it like to try to adjust everything?
Well, to be honest with you, the day was no different. It was just right about when we were about to go out, they cleared the bowl or whatever, and I just didn't know. When we first went out there, we were told you're going to have an hour max. Well, we could still be out there probably right now, but we adjusted some things, and once we went to the tackle portion of practice, I didn't want to temper back that tempo that we had. It kind of throws guys for a little bit of a loop. So once we committed to that, it was and those guys, I think, especially the receiving core, was getting pretty exhausted. So we decided to shut it down after that.
Hey Matt, like today, did you guys treat this like a game or a preseason game with how you approach whatever the meetings and stuff, or was it more like a practice day?
It was similar to a normal game day. We're still under the constraints of having these guys for 11 hours, so we had to kick the start time back a little bit. But as far as the format, typically what we do when we have a night game is we bring them in early, around 10:30 or whatnot, and have some meetings, and then we let them go home, rest, and then they come back and have to be here typically about 2 hours before game time. And we had tonight we had only made them come in about an hour before practice started.
Matt, we've talked a lot about the competition with the young wide receivers. Devin Funchess is not a young guy. He's a veteran guy who's competing. What have you seen from him? Where is he right now?
Yeah, Devin did some nice things tonight. And I think for any of these guys, year one in our system can be a little bit challenging because we have a lot of different formations. And that's, really the foundation for being able to get lined up and then go out there and execute. And so, that was encouraging to see. I think we definitely pared it down a little bit, more like a game week would be, in terms of just having a just smaller menu. I think anytime you have your whole playbook open in camp, it can be challenging for these guys when you do have some of these, move the ball periods in practice where there is no script, because anything could come out. And so it is more challenging. And I try to ensure some of these guys that are newer to our system, like, hey, just, you know, it'll get easier once we get it pared down and we give you a game plan, then you can study that. And so I was happy with not only Devin, but all these young guys being able to get out there and get lined up and play football.
Anything else in here? All right, let's go to Zoom. Sarah, go ahead.
Just one in here, Bill Hubert.
Hey Matt, what did you think of Ento tonight, and what have you seen from him thus far on what he practices?
Yeah, no, I thought Ento did some nice things. He had a couple pass breakups. You know, he's a guy that he's got to go out there and compete and do it on a consistent basis. So we'll have 3 more opportunities in live game action to watch him out there, and we'll see where he ends up.